Now look at HITC Sport. Alright, pretty simple one here. I know the tournament isn't done yet, and I'm gonna look pretty stupid if one of these players goes on to score the winner in the goddamn final. But let's take a look at every Euro 2020 team's worst player so far. Right, let's go. Turkey, Burak Yilmaz. Yes, Burak Yilmaz is exhausted. I called it. I knew that after that intense Ligue 1 title race with Lille, that this nearly 40-year-old man would be so far off the pace. He played this tournament playing like Dean Windass if Dean Windass slept in a ditch. Absolutely no goal-scoring threat about him. And to think, Neymar and Mbappe lost a title race to that. A virtual human sweat patch with a back hairier than Wolverine? Good Christ. Italy, Andrea Bellotti. Remember when Andrea Bellotti was being linked with every powerful demigod football club on the planet? Well, he's now 27 and still at Torino. It must be so anticlimactic, so cruel. A bit like spending your childhood in an orphanage and then be given a golden ticket to audition for Britain's Got Talent, only to wind up losing to a dancing dog in a wig.
Okay, great. I guess it's back to washing my face in the toilet.
Anyway, the Italian centre forward played 9 minutes against Turkey in Rome. Oh, come on. What can you do in 9 minutes? I've sat on the toilet for longer than that. This morning. So I won't be too harsh and say that the impact of the melted Toblerone. It's a 10-minute cameo. Everyone who's watched it bar his mother will have forgotten he was even on the pitch. And so he spent the Switzerland game sitting on his hands on the bench. But then Roberto Mancini gives him the full 90 minutes against Wales to stake his claim. And nothing happened. I'm not saying he was awful, but poor old Bellotti, this is a European Championships. His wife and kids will have had tickets to the games. But good Christ, watching him, he was so anonymous. It's probably like watching a junior bin man waking his family up at 4 AM to come and watch him pick up bags of condoms and expired milk. Or at least just as fun. He was then given 36 minutes to try and score the winner against Austria in the last 16 and failed miserably. Wales, Nico Williams. Listen, I don't want to sit here and castrate the Welsh players because they mostly gave it their all and they did play well during the tournament. Mostly. But you asked for their worst player, and I'm sorry. Liverpool teenage right back Nico Williams, he'll have dreamt of making this tournament his own. Listen, he played 1 minute in that famous 2-0 win against Turkey. Not sure if he touched the ball, but great. Then he played 87 minutes in the 1-0 loss to Italy in Rome. Okay, fine, but here's where things get tricky. He came off for the injured Connor Roberts just before halftime against Denmark in the last 16, and then kicks the ball straight to Kasper Dolberg to double the lead. Just an absolute nightmare. Was he partially blinded in one eye? Because I'm pretty sure Jurgen Klopp doesn't teach you that in training. I mean, pretty much a nightmare tournament for the kid. Switzerland, Kevin Mbabu. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that Kevin Mbabu is a wet cow pad of a defender because he's not. But it's been a pretty average Euros for the former Newcastle right back. He played in all 3 group game matches, was dragged off the pitch after an hour after being utterly toasted like a marshmallow by the Italians. Listen, it's not been a brutal tournament for him, and I know he did play well against France, very well against France, but in every other game, pretty much off the pace. Denmark, Yannick Vestergaard. Well, Southampton fans could probably have told you that Yannick Vestergaard is prone to playing like a clown on stilts. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't been that bad and did really well against Wales in the last 16. And he did enter the tournament in horrific circumstances as a 63rd minute sub against Finland, so I don't envy Vestergaard that, but Romelu Lukaku utterly runs him ragged in the second half against Belgium, and then he pulled down Alexander Sobolev for a Russian penalty. I know he did well against Wales, but I would imagine a wet tree stump to be able to mark Kiefer Moore that day, so yeah, let's say Vestergaard. Okay, I'll admit, I made this video after the group stage, okay? I know, okay, Vestergaard, he's been brilliant in the knockout rounds with Denmark, and really, he shouldn't be in her, but let me ask you this. Every single Danish player has been brilliant, so really, who's been the worst? They don't have one. They've all been excellent. Finland, Teemu Pukki. Teemu Pukki has had 1 shot on target. 1! This guy was supposed to fire Finland into the next round, right? For all those considering picking this guy in Fantasy League in August, I hope this makes you violently reconsider to the point where you stuck those plans in a big fat wheelbarrow and chucked it off a bridge. The Finnish wanted a Pukki party, right? Yeah, a Pukki party at Norwich in the championship is probably one on par with something thrown by the Great Gatsby. Fun for everyone! But the Pukki party at the Euros, by contrast, it was like a 9-year-old's birthday party where the punches spiked with dog medicine. Or maybe one of Oscar Pistorius' parties in the bathroom. Either way, nobody's having fun. Belgium, Jason Denayer. Jason Denayer had a complete and utter stinker. This is a guy who sat out the first game against Russia, and so Roberto Martinez then picks him for the Denmark game. That alone doesn't sound too terrifying. It's only when you realise this is a former Wigan coach picking a former Sunderland centre back at At the Euros, that sentence right there, if you were a Belgian, would fill your kidneys with utter dread. Christ, imagine, it sounds about as much fun as being breastfed by Tony Soprano. And just 80 seconds of his European Championship debut, Denier gives the ball away, then chases after the ball like a sheep with Tourette's, and Josef Poulsen slaps in the opening goal for Denmark. Somehow he kept his place for the Finland game. Maybe he had photos of his hard drive of Martinez licking peanut butter off his dog's arse, who knows? But he kept his place, kept a clean sheet. But Christ above, that Denmark mistake, horrific. And clearly Martinez agrees with me because he didn't play against Portugal. Russia, Danil Kuzyaev. Yeah, here's 28-year-old Zenit St. Petersburg midfielder Danil Kuzyaev playing left wing back. Yeah, he did alright against Finland, but he was utterly blown apart by the Belgians in the first game and then utterly collapsed, losing 4-1 in Copenhagen. Honestly, the Belgians attacked him every time. He was more exposed than Matt Hancock's marriage vows. Netherlands, Daley Blind. Listen, it was a pretty good showing from Holland in the group before, yeah, collapsing like a bowl of scrambled egg. Hey, listen, if you have to pick the Netherlands' worst performer at a push, Daley Blind. He's been playing in a back three. He's looked at times their weak link, and you can't really tell me he's played well in any game. Especially not against Czech Republic, where they absolutely melted. Sorry, Blind, this was probably one tournament too many. North Macedonia, Boban Nikolov. This seems me. Newsflash, Boban Nikolov is not good enough for the European Championships. Yeah, we know that. He plays in Serie B with Leka. Great, what even is Leka? Sounds like someone you might put in a bowl of soup. But yeah, Boban Nikolov sounds like someone whose mugshot should be pinned to a wall at an MI5. But yeah, he's been poor. But as poor as Deji's haircut. He's a fish out of water, but we cannot blame this guy. It's not his fault he's got the midfield presence of a custard cream. He shouldn't be there. In the same way, it's like putting a 12-year-old babysitter in charge of your kids for a week. You can't blame her when by Friday, your toddler is eating Cocoa Puffs out of the toaster. Anyway, yeah, he's been pretty poor. Austria, Marko Arnautovic. I know Austria's worst player wasn't Marko Arnautovic. I'm just sitting here and gloating. I said before the tournament, if he scored 2 goals, then I'd be eating scrambled egg off a toilet seat. When he scored against North Macedonia, I'll admit it, I was shaking like a choir boy. But I'm sorry, Marko, you utterly chucked all that in the bin by getting suspended for your mother jokes. If an adult man is making your mother jokes, it's a hint that he has the brain of a 10-year-old child. Right now, I bet he's probably playing Pokemon Go and queuing up for an ice cream van. For that alone, you let down your country, Marko. Just utterly stupid. Ukraine, Ruslan Malinovsky. Yeah, Ruslan Malinovsky is the much-hyped Ukraine midfielder, right? We've had a few of those, but the 25-year-old Atalanta midfielder has looked off the pace, especially in that group stage defeat to Austria. So yeah, he hasn't been great at all. Czech Republic, Mataj Vidra. Every time I see Mataj Vidra, a bumbling Burnley flop, stuff himself into an international shirt representing his country, it just makes me sad. He's probably the least threatening striker of this entire tournament. Scotland, Ryan Fraser. 2 years ago, Ryan Fraser was arguably Scotland's biggest weapon. Then he believed the hype, saw his ego inflate, and gave up on Bournemouth, ruining his career. But because of sitting out a relegation scrap last year with Bournemouth, he spent all of last season without a pre-season, playing catch-up fitness for Newcastle, and now he was given just 20-minute cameos against the Czech Republic and Croatia. He was brought on to save the day. Nothing. No spark, no creativity. Absolutely a crumbled up, withered mess. Are we forgetting last year he was linked with Liverpool? Come on, Ryan, what happened? England, Harry Kane. Okay, first, let me preface this by saying I did this Harry Kane segment just after the group stage, before the game against Germany. I was supposed to release the video then, but obviously France messed up, so I had to do a video on them instead. Listen, last week this would have made sense, but no, Kane has since scored. He could well win the Golden Boot now. I mean, Christ above. And I said he's the worst. Listen, okay, I already did the clip, so just sit there and watch it. Or maybe just skip about a minute later, because honestly, actually, you know what? Maybe I can save this. Every England player has been brilliant. Nobody has underperformed. Nobody has messed up. So maybe, since Kane did stink up the groups, maybe you could still put him in for the players underperformed. I don't know. There's probably not a... just play the damn clip. Let's be real. Harry Kane was the favourite for the Euro 2020 Golden Boot. If he manages to win the Golden Boot now, I'll eat an entire newspaper for breakfast. And good Christ, trying to digest a Katie Hopkins column would probably cause permanent liver damage. But Kane, listen, Croatia, Scotland and the Czech Republic. There are potential goals for Kane there. He'll have sized those 3 teams up and licked his lips as if he was Sheik Wiggum in a donut shop. But 5 attempts, 0 goals. Just 1 shot on target. That is poor. Sure, he hasn't had great service, but it's his fault for dropping deep to try and and retrieve the ball. Just stay in the goddamn blocks. Harry, if you were someone who'd never watched a game of football before, you'd assume this guy was just some wet 6-foot lump of forehead with no aerial presence and the hairline of a 52-year-old banker from Sligo. But on one end, surely he set a world record, because surely nobody else in the history of football has played this poorly and still been the subject of a £100 million bid that very month. I mean, surely not. I mean, right now, he's playing like the Harry Kane of 2013. You know, the one who couldn't get past David Nugent in the Leicester team in the Championship. The one who played like a human cardboard box. Yeah, you could probably just ignore all that. Croatia, Domagoj Vida. In the next few days, Domagoj Vida is going to need to visit a doctor, because right now he's playing like an incontinent stray dog. Domagoj Vida, listen, I know he was a defensive titan when they reached the 2018 World Cup final, but so far you can tell this 32-year-old is used to the standard of Turkish football because he's been so far off the pace. Against England, he was hopeless, and Harry Kane dragged him wide, allowing Raheem Sterling to steal and score the winner, and then he put in a decent showing in a 1-1 draw with the Czech Republic before travelling to Glasgow in a must-win game. And sure, Croatia are then 1-up and coasting. But yet again, Vida chucks another potential clean sheet in the bin, clearing Andy Robertson's cross straight to Callum McGregor to equalise. McGregor hadn't been granted such an easy opportunity to strike since that old man refused his whiskey in the pub. If Luka Modric hadn't just dragged your country out of a Scottish-shaped ditch, then Vida, you'd have just clumsily dumped your country out of the group stages. Poland, Grzegorz Krychowiak. I'm gonna say it. Former West Brom flop Grzegorz Krychowiak cost Poland the Euros. He played the first game against Slovakia in midfield, was sent off with the scores level at 1-1. 7 minutes later, Milan Skriniar scores the winner, so he's banned for the game against Spain before returning to lose 3-2 to Sweden. Just very poor. Slovakia, Martin Dubravka. Listen, I know he saved a penalty from Alvaro Morata. Great, so could my granny. She's been dead since 1987. Anyone who saw Dubravka's utter ineptitude horror show against Spain will see that was Loris Karius' levels of terrible. First of all, palming a shot into his own net. Jordan Pickford was ridiculed for years after a similar mistake against Origi. Dubravka, he deserves similar flack, because that was without a doubt the worst goalkeeping error I've ever seen at the European Championships. Then he gets up to concede another 4. Spain, Alvaro Morata. Alvaro Morata is lucky that his Spanish teammates were able to bag 5 against Slovakia, because otherwise, if they slumped to a goalless draw and crashed out, he would be the biggest villain in Spain. The guy fluffed his lines against Sweden, missed an open goal against Poland, and saw his penalty saved against Slovakia. He's been utterly hopeless, like a walking bin bag. Ozzy, to think this guy has played for Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Juventus? How? Okay, since making this video, I know Morata has since volleyed in a goal against Croatia, an important goal, but I don't care, alright? He's still utterly stunk up the place. One good goal. That's like a keeper making one good save. To be fair, Gerard Moreno has pushed him damn close. But yeah, I think I'm still picking Morata. Sweden, Marcus Berg. Yeah, here's Krasnodar striker Marcus Berg. Sweden top of the group. No thanks to this guy. Again, pretty damn anonymous against both Spain and Slovakia. Was given 20 minutes against Poland, and again, didn't do much. Portugal, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is an amazing footballer. Had an absolute cat pudding of a tournament. Honestly, this guy, he's a fellow who single-handedly transformed Manchester United. Were it not for Ronaldo, this guy would be the diamond that Portugal build their team around. But 89 ineffective minutes against Hungary. He played just over an hour in the 4-2 humbling against the Germans. Was given just 18 minutes against France, and then a limp half an hour where he tried and failed to save the day against Belgium in the last 16. I'm not gonna sit here and call him the Portuguese Jermaine Genius, but this was a clear case of burnout. Since quitting Sporting Lisbon, he's played about 100 games in 18 months. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer continuing to pick this guy every week for nearly 2 years has contributed with him turning into a lightweight, exhausted, custard egg sandwich, doing utterly nothing at this tournament, and I mean nothing. Man United fans are gonna be praying that they give him a month's holidays, because otherwise he's gonna look like the Portuguese Steve Sidwell. Honestly, if you're going based just on form, you'd be thinking Manchester United should be picking Jesse Lingard for the opening game of the season, not this bowl of human dog food. Imagine before the tournament telling someone like Mark Goldbridge that Bruno would lose his place in a team to something that used to look like a constipated Jar Jar Binks at Swansea. Hungary, nobody. Lads, if Hungary had held on for just 6 more minutes against the Portuguese, they'd have navigated their way unbeaten through the group of death. And you want me to try and find their worst player? Is this some sort of sick joke? They were 5 minutes away from qualifying. Their entire squad deserves knighthoods, even Adam Bogdan. Although all Adam Salah is getting is a love letter made of cheese. France, Adrien Rabiot. It's hard to pick a worse player for France, so maybe Adrien Rabiot. He played the full 90 minutes against Germany and absolutely bottled a chance to go 2-0 up by selfishly trying to hit the post instead. Pretty sure Antoine Griezmann felt like dragging him by his hair and flushing him face first in the toilet. He was given an hour in the toilet in the sun during that frustrating 1-1 draw against Hungary. When he was hauled off the pitch, they were actually losing the goddamn match. And then he was given 38 minutes to play left back against the Portuguese. He hasn't been great, and Didier Deschamps is probably wishing he brought Tanguy Ndombele instead. Oh yeah, And Arabia was pretty awful against Switzerland too. Germany, Mats Hummels. What is Mats Hummels doing in this German team? Does Joachim Low think he's 2014? The guy's 32. He scored a no goal against France and was utterly run ragged by Kylian Mbappe. He played an hour against Portugal, again chucked another easy clean sheet in the bin, before playing the full game as Germany conceded twice against Hungary, including what looked like the winning goal straight from the kickoff. Can you imagine if Leon Goretzka didn't save the day? I can guarantee you this man would have never represented his country ever again. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk shit in a while.